They're out there in the dark, waiting for us. Monsters unleashed. Out where the pine roots twist and bleed, footsteps shake the ground beneath. Eyes in the tree line glowing red. Whispers say the lost ain't dead. Steel nerves, cameras rolling hot, chasing the truth that the world forgot. Fears our fuel, we hunt the sound. Ain't no turning back when the sun goes down. We are the shadows that you can't erase. Storm through the night with a wild-eyed grace. Truth on the edge and our souls released. This is Monsters Unleashed. Yeah, this is Monsters Unleashed. Night vision flares, the forest screams. Echoes feed our fever dreams. Something moves by the river bend. You can pray, but it ain't your friend. Steel boots in the muddy ground. Monster Unleashed logos on the packs around. A special guest on the call tonight, while Monster Mike lights up the fight. We are the shadows that you can't erase. Storm through the night with a wild-eyed grace. Truth on the edge and our souls released. This is Monsters Unleashed. Yeah, this is Monsters Unleashed. Screams in the holler, howls through the trees. You don't run from the darkness, you make it believe.
People that are doing shit are too busy to talk shit. So next time somebody's talking some shit, just step back and realize they ain't doing shit. Because if they were doing shit, they wouldn't have time to talk shit. It's just that simple.
There's stories in these mountains, stories folks don't tell, about things that walk the tree line, some say straight out of hell. And every road got secrets, if you're brave enough to go. I drove through Carolina with the moonlight on my back, with a worn out pair of boots and a flashlight in the black. Got a radio crackling and a cold wind through the pines, and something in the darkness was keeping right in line. They said, boy, don't go wandering where the old creek disappears. But fear ain't stopped a whip man in nearly 50 years. So we followed broken branches and tracks too wide for men, and somewhere in the distance distance came that hollow howl again. We are monsters unleashed, walking where the shadows breathe, through the hills and through the pines, where the lost things never die. Bigfoot in the moonlight, Dogman in the fog. We keep hunting down the truth on every backwoods road. Yeah, monsters unleashed. I saw red eyes in Kentucky, near the old graveyard hill. Heard screams across the valley that'll haunt me still. Spirit box was whispering names we never said aloud. Then the whole damn forest suddenly went silent all around. Got Trisha beside me saying something's watching from the trees, and every hair stood up on us with that cold November breeze. Ain't in this for glory, ain't in this for fame. We're just chasing down the questions most folks fear to name. We are monsters unleashed, walking where the shadows breathe, through the mountains late at night, searching for what hides from light. Old roads and forgotten places, whispers in the dark. Sometimes all you leave with is another mental scar. Yeah, monsters unleashed. Now some folks call us crazy, some say we've lost our minds. But once you hear the howl at night, the truth is hard to hide. There's something in these forests, ancient, wild and free. And every time we go back out, it keeps calling me. We are monsters unleashed, still riding through the deep, through the hollows and the valleys, where the old things never sleep. Bigfoot in the highlands, Dogman on the run. We'll keep searching through the darkness till our days on earth are done. So if you see strange shadows or hear footsteps in the pines, just remember, some monsters ain't legends.
Well, hello, everybody.
Well, hello. Hi.
Everybody, welcome back for another episode of Monsters Unleashed. How's everybody's week been?
Oh,
Good.
well, if it didn't have a tornado that tried to blow me away, we had a tornado. So,
Jeez, I know you said that you've got everything out at your house. So.
oh my God, the weather has been crazy. This is the first day it hasn't really rained. So, it's been crazy.
It has rained here every evening for the past week. Every evening. As soon as I've got something to do, it starts raining.
Yeah.
And it's all.
The lightning's been terrible here. I mean, the wind was bad, but the lightning, we got more damage from the lightning. It was just outrageous. Huge trees just split. I mean, we still got power outages, and of course I have no phone, TV, internet. I'm sitting outside at my daughter's.
What about you, Derek? What have you had going on this week?
Well, I got the privilege to hang out with a buddy of mine, the legendary one half of the tag team called the Fantastics back in the 1980s and 90s. Wrestled for NWA, WCW, and WWE. Bobby Fulton, I was with him, a wrestling show at the Champaign County Fair, and what a great show that was. And he wants me to help him write his biography. And so I get to be talking to Jim Cornette and all the people I grew up watching just to get some good stories to make that book success.
And I got to talk to him also.
That's right.
That's right. BTT.
And I missed it.
You missed it.
He talked. Yeah. So two things. That's one of them. And I want to do a radio check, and I got to talking to your dad, and I said I'm with the legend Bobby Fulton right beside me. I gave him a Metallica cigar, and he really appreciated it. But before that, this is the funniest part. Here's the funniest part. Okay, an hour before, I'm doing Donald Trump impression for the Democrats. The Democrat lady, the head lady of the county goes, "Can I record you?" I'm like, "Go for it." And I got real loud, and people were all walking around. All of a sudden they start hearing a Trump voice and a Democrat, with a Democrat. But here's the funny part. I kept joking, said, I hope Jim Jordan's here. Well, the Democrat lady said, he is here. He was just here about 5 minutes ago. And if you know Jim Jordan, he's a rep out of Ohio, good friends with Donald Trump. And the Democrat showed me where he was at, where he walked to. So I'm like, I'll be back. Found him in a hog barn, surrounded by security. And I did my Trump voice real loud. He turned around and lost it. And I kept doing it, tell everyone how they're great people. You're a great guy, So fantastic guy, Jim Jordan, okay? And I went on and on and on. He lost it. Everyone lost it. But I was able to have a good conversation with him about law enforcement. And then I talked to another rep, I don't know who he was, for another 15 minutes. So it was a very unique day. And so
that's awesome.
I'm here with you guys for the first time being like a co-host or whatever category. And I'm hoping that your guests are up for some tough questions.
Oh, okay. Well, Miss Cindy, how was your week?
Good, busy, but good. I can't complain. So just busy, doing what I need to do to look for a job, all that fun stuff. And then podcasting, preparing for stuff and episodes and all that.
Yeah, myself, I was busier than a one-legged man in a three-legged race. So I was hopping along, let's put it that way. What about you, Trisha? What did you have going on?
It has been busy. I have 2 kids, a middle schooler and a high schooler that started school Monday. I've been pressing shirts for the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival. I've been mapping out areas for the little expedition that we're doing in a couple weeks in LBL. I just went and bought a new couch today and had furniture everywhere. So it's my brother's in visiting. So yeah, it's been best part of the week was kids went back to school.
Oh yeah. Well,
Trisha, you and I did an episode with you.
We did do an episode. I forgot about that. I did an episode, an interview with
Trisha.
And I was featured in Ghost Buzz magazine on the 11th. So yeah, it's been a fantastic week.
Yeah, it sure has. And I really like that article put in there. The only problem that I had when it hit me is it says, her father, Michael Webb, also known as Monster Mike. It should have said her father, Michael Webb, also known as the man, the myth, the legend, Monster Mike. So I'm going to write them a letter and see if I can get them to correct that.
Yeah, you should. That's crap. That is utter crap. Disrespectful.
Hey, if my stepmom is watching, Cindy, come get your husband. Come get him.
But we've got some. Derek, give it to us. Our fantastic guests tonight.
Yeah, you got to.
I can't do it. Derek, you'll have to do it.
What we got? Fantastic guests. We got We got a phenomenal guest, okay? We got a great group of people, okay? So fantastic. The cameras won't show. They won't show, but that's okay. We're going to win big tonight, okay? Woo!
Win big. Guys, we have the Paranormal Council with us tonight. And I'm going to go ahead and bring them out while Tricia sits there and pisses herself. So let's introduce them one at a time here. We have Sean with us tonight. Hello, Mr. Sean. How are you? And Sean, you're muted.
Doing great, everybody. Glad to be here and meet everybody and hope to be able to fit in.
Oh, you'll fit in just fine. We're all crazy around here. Let's see. Let's bring out Stacy. Hello, Stacy.
How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing real good. Let's see. We got Jen.
Hey.
Hello, Miss Jen.
I have to say, Derek, that was probably one of the best introductions we've ever had.
You're fantastic, okay? You're a really great person, okay? So fantastic, by the way.
And I see Josh in the back. I got to bring Josh out. He's back there just smiling from ear to ear.
Oh, yeah. That's funny.
What a great guy. What a tough guy. What a tough guy.
Oh, Tricia loses it on Derek, I'm telling you.
What a tough guy he is, okay? Who's the pastor? Which one of you is the pastor?
Sean.
I got some good questions for you later.
Cool.
Relation to paranormal that I'm curious more than anything.
Cool. Absolutely.
At first, I thought he was still Trump at first.
I switch voices. I got multi-personalities, so sometimes I'm thinking from Jersey. How you doing? I come all the way from Jersey just to watch this thing, okay? Hey, forget about it. Got a freaking pastor here. Mine's your manners. Hey, can I get a pool boy and a pack of Lucy's and a martini? All right.
Well, I can't do this much longer.
That's why Derek fits in on our show, because he just ain't right in the head. He's like the rest of us,
I'll tell you what, I'm not right.
In our intro song there, it says some folks call us crazy. We actually are. So.
Yeah, you gotta be a little crazy.
But everybody in the audience, if you didn't know, we were on Paranormal Council's show. You can go back and watch that on Paraflix, right?
Yep.
Yes.
Paraflix. I actually looked for that episode on there the other day and didn't see it, but I'm sure it's there.
It's a backlog.
Yeah, we're backlogged, and so it'll eventually get there. But yeah, but if you really want immediate satisfaction, you can see it on YouTube.
YouTube too. Yeah, that's great. And well, go ahead and tell everybody how to find your channel. But listen, people, don't go to their channel right now. Wait till our show's over. Okay.
Yeah, we're not on there right now. We're here.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll wait till the end of the show, because I know how some of these shady people are. They'll click off of us and get to your channel. So, we love you, chat. We love you. Okay, don't be putting hate messages in there. But anyways, so guys, tell us about the Paranormal Council.
Okay, well, I'll take this then. The Paranormal Council started out originally a long time ago on another podcast, and it was it was a few of us, 4 of us originally. In fact, 3 of us are original on that. But it was a small idea. It was kind of like a once a month. We did like 3 or 4 shows, nothing major. But then later on, a few years, 4 or 5 years later or something, I don't know, Jen came into my life, and we were talking, and she's like, hey, I have this idea. And then we just got talking, and like when I brought up the Paranormal Council, she's like, yeah, she's like, this is exactly what we need to do. And so it was an inspiration from her to resurrect this idea, and then to make it a weekly show again, to bring back Stacy. And we had another person, Chanel, started with us in the beginning, but unfortunately, due to just her life was crazy. Some people just get really busy. And then Sean was like, "Hey, I'm available now." And of course, being another one of the original members of the council, he came on, which adds a really good diverse panel of four. But the whole idea was simple: four distinct people with different sort of, you can find us on the different spectrum there. And we talk about paranormal subjects, and of course, you got four unique views.
Awesome. So I guess the rest of you, was that the truth, or he wasn't lying to us, was he?
No, he got it. He got it.
Yep, that was pretty much
No,
it.
that's the truth.
Yeah, and most of the time we just try to, we try to agree a little bit, but mostly disagree. So it's interesting.
What is if you don't mind me asking? I like the fact that you have four distinctive views, which at this moment I have no clue what that may be. But how do you? What is your guys' epistemology in your opinions? Like, how do you come to your conclusion? What is, basically what is your epistemology, and how do you deal with conflict of like breaking the wall of non-contradiction?
Well, I think Jen was saying too, like, we do disagree. We're just here to educate people as much as we can. Like, between all four of us on the panel, we have close to 120 years experience, really. I mean, we've almost all four of us have been doing this for 30 plus years. So really, when we talk about a subject, we're going to approach it from our personal perspective. So most of these are just our personal opinions. And like I said, Sean, and again, we can kind of give everybody a chance to maybe talk about their backgrounds, but we have a spectrum. Like I said, Sean being sort of that, the religious Christian side, and then probably me, and then Jen, and then probably Stacy more to the African religion side, and on that. So we have a good spectrum of views. And like I said, we just tend to, if we disagree, we disagree. I mean, that we want to be able to, but we all work well together. We've been doing a long time, working together a long time. So it's a really good working relationship.
Well, and the goal of the council was to, kind of step more into that. I don't want to call it mentorship role necessarily, but sharing the knowledge over those 30 years we've all acquired and the experiences, and talking about them, what we've learned, and, maybe some pros and cons and do's and don'ts. And, hey, I got in over my head because I went too far this time, and this is why we don't do this. And, we talk about all these different things on there. So, we wanted to share that with people, but at the same time, we've talked about it a number of times amongst ourselves about how, as we're doing this show, we're learning more and more and more. So we're continuing to grow, and we're challenging each other's ideas, and we're learning from each other. So it's turned out to be a blessing to us as well as to helping other people.
Do you find real quick, that jump in real quick? Do you find that all four of you are coming together to find the best motifs? That is to say, no matter where you're at in the world, you're going to encounter the same things. Might have different names to it. We all dream, right? You go to anywhere in the world, people dream, people see what you call transcendence or paranormal. And so all four of you have a diverse background. Is it that motif that draws you in?
I mean, we do talk about, differences from historical standpoints, cultural standpoints, geographic standpoints. We do talk a lot. We did a couple of episodes about paranormal jargon, just because, there's words that people use, but they use them differently, explaining the same thing, or they mean to say something else. And it gets very confusing when people are trying to have conversations, like in a council or on a TV show, or even, in chat or comments on posts and things like that too. So.
Yeah. And I mean, there is a universal jargon to paranormal, period. I think even Sean, weren't you talking about this recently? Like, don't you guys do something where you were like, don't you guys have a class or something? You were talking about this too, like just this past Thursday, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I teach several different types of spiritual warfare classes, and I train pastors to do what I do. And, one of the things we talk about constantly is we have the Christian jargon, and then we have maybe the New Age jargon, maybe you have esoteric jargon. And motifs and ideas coming together. And mostly we can bridge the gap and talk about these things. We may call certain things, but we're always going to come back. And well, it's one of the things that I wanted to share with my part, being a kind of a orthodox, not Orthodox Christian. I'm not Eastern Orthodox or Catholic. I'm Protestant, but mostly what I try to do is stay. What does the Bible actually teach? And I found a lot of people don't actually know what the Bible actually teaches on these subjects, and especially with the pastors, and even themselves, the pastors don't really know. And so we talk about these jargons and these ideas and concepts. One of the things I love about the council is, I don't look at myself superior than anybody. My knowledge is not superior. My belief system is not superior. I want to learn. I want to help people understand where I'm coming from. Because if you understand where I'm coming from, and I can understand where you're coming from, we're going to get along a lot better. So, that's kind of where, and that's one thing I would say. Every single person on this group is right there in the same that idea of just being able to learn and talk and express what they believe.
I love that.
Yeah.
And then how much you guys enjoy the paradoxes?
It's learning. I mean, that's what it's all about. It's learning. I mean, just like Jen said earlier, we are constantly, I think to me, this is just my personal belief on this show too, is like, I love interacting with these other three on the show. Just like it wouldn't even almost matter if we had an audience, to be honest with you, because just us four interacting together, we've again always been able to sort of level each other up, because again, Sean has unique perspectives and his experiences. Again, Jen and her abilities and her unique experiences, and the same thing with Stacy and his remote viewing and all kinds of things that he's done. Everybody has gone through so much stuff and has these unique aspects of the paranormal, and even learning, like especially with Stacy and the spiritualism with like the African religions. I mean, that stuff is really intriguing. There's just so much to learn from each other, and we're constantly pushing each other to, like, because somebody might say, well, this type of thing, and we say, well, what about this? And like, yeah, and then like we just keep, again, leveling each other up. So that's what's great about it to me.
Yep.
That's one thing I definitely want to get myself into is the remote viewing. I find it very intriguing and very interesting. And I've seen so many documentaries on it and seen people do it on the documentaries. And I want to try, but at the same time, it's like a little nerve wracking at the same time. Would you agree, Stacy, when you started?
Actually, it's not at all. All you have to do is understand that remote viewing, I teach it online at udemy.com. And the process itself, the military tried to figure out how psychics became psychic. They studied all these psychics, Uri Geller, a whole list of all these famous psychics, and they rang through the ringer on how it is that they got to know what they know. And Ingo Swann was an astrologer who was, for all intents and purposes, really anal retentive. And everything that popped into his head, he wrote down as it came into his head. And it was a light bulb moment for the military that they discovered they could actually teach it by using those protocols. And really, all it is, if you want to know what it is, it's a protocol that resets that first 3 seconds of an impression that you have when you walk into a room. You can walk into a room and you instantly get a vibe of what's going on. You meet somebody for the first time. That first 3 seconds is real, raw data. And the remote viewing protocols just reset that over and over again. That first 3 seconds of impression. What do you see? What do you smell? What do you taste? What do you hear? And they just recycle that over and over and over again and write it down in a paint by numbers method that at the end you put it together like a jigsaw puzzle and you have a scary accurate picture that you've drawn, an impression of whatever's the target is, of completely blind. You had no idea what it was that you were targeting while you were in the session, but at the end you are better and more accurate than Nostradamus, because it is that first 3 seconds they just keep recycling over and over and over again. There's nothing really mystical about it. It's just that first impression, and you don't have to go into a state of Zen or meditation or anything like that. The brainwave level that you have to be at is actually similar to taking like the SATs. That high level of concentration is what you go through. There's no deep, like, trance state or anything like that. It is, it's actually not very sexy to watch someone do remote viewing. It's like watching someone do a math problem. It's, but the data at the end is the data at the end is scary good. And that's what the military discovered in 20 years of running a psychic spy
actually
program.
I just watched a documentary yesterday about how it all started with the military and so and the purpose of it. So I was curious, when you've done remote viewing, have you been just given Latin longs and you know that you're given a name and trying to figure out where they're at or anything like that?
No,
I've seen that done.
all you're given, if you're doing it blind, it's the target is inside of an envelope, and all that's on the envelope is a serial number, and you're just given the serial number, and whatever the target is, it could be a picture, it could be a Boolean word, like you type into Google. It could be any number of different things, and that's the whole idea, is that you don't know what it is, so there's no assumptions involved. Your brain can't invent something that it doesn't. There's no clues to it, and because of that, you actually start paying attention to that first impression recycled over and over and over again. It is, you still have a 20% running error rate throughout the session, because your brain, if you don't hit that 3 seconds and you start drifting into 4 and 5 seconds, your brain actually starts to make things up, and that's called analytical overlay, or AOL. And that's the creative part of your mind that takes a little bit of information and then it goes, oh, I know what that is. And it just gives you an image that has nothing to do with it, based off of a little bit of information. And
so I want to go ahead and say this real quick. Don't ever try to remote view me, because I sleep naked, and that's an image that will burn in your mind the rest of your life. Okay? Let's put that out there.
I was actually on a podcast where the interviewer, this is years ago, I was telling him how out that I was actually going to start spying on him in the shower. I'm like, okay, dude, first, I'm not gay, and second of all, you're not that interesting. Not to say that you're not, Mike, but
don't say you wasn't warned, okay, Stacy? Don't say you weren't warned. But
what's your? Oh, good. I was going to ask, what is your best testimony regarding to remote viewing? What made a person go, whoa, that was accurate? And what's your best story?
Well, some of the best stuff, I can't even say it's the best stuff because it's just so morbid. For a while, I was doing work for a group called Find Me, and they are retired FBI and search and rescue out in Arizona, and they help cold cases in finding people, children mostly, who've gone missing, and that's why I joined. They help find missing kids. The stuff that we would do, it was frustrating to me because it was always a cold case. We never found anybody who was alive, and after a while, the stuff we were getting was accurate, and we were finding kids, but you start to develop PTSD about the whole thing because you're remote viewing either the instant that they were killed or their remains as they're decomposing and things of that kind, and it doesn't go away. It's like there's some things you can't unsee, and I had to get away from it because one kid you could probably get away with it, but when it was half a dozen kids, you're doing it over and over again. I just couldn't do it anymore. We were succeeding in the mission in finding these people, but it just
the struggles of first responders and clergy and
We have a friend, Tracy Jones. She's been on our show several times. She was there at the LBL with Relic Films, and they did the God helmet on her and the Estes method. And during that, I think the whole thing with the God helmet, I do believe it did some weird stuff. And she connected to, was it 2 girls, Trisha?
Yeah.
Yes, two teenage girls.
2 teenage girls that were murdered.
Carla and Vicky.
Yeah, murdered in the LBL, and she's seen it all go. She's seen it all go down.
Yeah, you can't unsee it. Once you see that stuff, it's with you forever.
Yep.
I don't do a lot of remote viewing professionally anymore. I teach it. I show people on how they can do it themselves, and use it for practical application, not just for I saw somebody naked in the shower. It's practical application as far as like for business. What you can do is treasure hunting, even sports betting, stock market, things of that kind. That's the practical application that you can use remote viewing for. For the most part now, I'm a Palomayombe priest. If you don't know what that is, that's books and people who write books on it call it the dark side of Santeria. It's not. They're 2 different religions, but it is the mother religion of voodoo and the watered down version of hoodoo, which you might know in the Appalachia. Hoodoo is the practice of what Palomayombe does, but with the religious trappings stripped away, to where it's more like recipes. You do you rub these 2 sticks together and you throw it in the river and you get a result. It's not really. There's no religious aspect to it. It's more animism, I would call it, than it is religion. But Palomayombe is the mother religion of all.
So is it you're more of a solitary practitioner?
No, I'm part of I'm solitary in that I do it by myself most of the time, but I'm part of a house. You don't just do this thing from a book or initiate yourself. You have to be scratched essentially from someone else or a group of fellow priests in order to receive those permissions in order to do this, and it's very strict in that regard too. If you try to initiate certain rituals in Palomayombe without being a priest, the blowback is you have no idea the kind of trouble that you can get in just by dabbling something you have no authority in. You have to be a priest in order to do certain things. And, I had to go through that process, which was kind of arduous.
Yep.
So Jenna was mentioned. Oh, yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Go ahead.
Earlier, there was mention that you have abilities. What are those?
I haven't found the boundaries of them yet. Okay. I grew up with abilities. I've had them since I was very, very young. It was making me laugh when we were talking about the shower scene, because you know how most people are like, hey, get out of my head.
Yeah.
My mom is so close to me that it's weird. I don't even know if it's got an actual name for it, but it's a combination of what I would call astral projection and remote viewing. And I do it to my mom all the time, not in the shower. And so instead of her telling me to get out of her head, she'll tell me to get out of her house. And I'm like, really, Mom? Really? But we get a good kick out of it because she'll be like, oh, I'm busy doing dishes. I'll be like, no, you're not. You're sitting on the couch, Mom. Or she'll be like, oh, I'm going to go sit on the couch now. And I'd be like, Mom, you're still in the backyard. Get your butt in the house and go sit down before you hurt your hip. Those types of conversations happen. But yeah, so I've been a medium as long as I can remember. Since I was a kid, talking to spirits. So evidential medium. I've done, I don't even know, so many things, so many different things. I work with energies. I relate a lot with elementals. I have most of the clairs. The only one I don't have is taste. And every time I say that, I kind of choke up because I know the minute I say that, I'm going to get it. And that's the one I don't want, because that's how it's happened for all the other clairs, right? But yeah, I actually just started Warrior Awakening Wellness Center as kind of a joint venture. I'm not a therapist. I've done a lot of therapy. I've studied psychology intensely. I grew up in a medical-based household, so I have some medical background just from everybody I grew up around.
Yeah.
You learn by osmosis, but then you also, as you get older, you study. But then I've been in the paranormal and had abilities my whole life. And so Warrior Awakening Wellness is really designed to help people understand themselves. Like, we look at our equipment that we use in the paranormal, right? You get a new piece of equipment, you're all excited to use it, and you're like, crap, what do these lights mean? What do these buttons mean? How am I supposed to interpret this data that I get from it, right? And so many times people with abilities, even, first initial, oh, I've got some sensitivity, I felt something in the room, I'm not sure what this means. There's no instruction book for any of that. But in going back and understanding yourself, you then are able to understand and better interpret what kinds of messages you're getting, how you're receiving them. You're able to understand accuracy. You're able to learn how to turn them on, shut them off for your own protection.
I shut mine off when I need to.
Yep. And really mastering that. And there's a lot of pieces that go into it, but as you go through the process, you can, of course, choose how far you would like to open your abilities, how much further you'd like to go in your abilities. And, things like psychometry and things like, people like to do scrying and psychometry and things like that. I know how to do all those things. I have done all those things. And I have cautions on a number of those things for reasons. However, it's things you have to master and you have to learn about. Just like, if you want to do remote viewing, the method Stacy uses works just as well as the method I use, and mine has nothing to do with his. Because I've been doing mine since I was a kid, before I knew anything about the government doing anything with it, But they both work equally well. It just depends on which way you learn better and how you receive information better. So anyway, mine is to help people. And also a big goal of that is, Josh and I with Soul Fire, we've started going back to really working with residential cases, kind of getting back to what we were really passionate about. I did them solo for 25 years. And, we wanted to really dig into that again. And one of the biggest pieces that's missing in residential investigations is aftercare. Or not even in residentials, but how many paranormal investigators, your first meeting with Bigfoot, it kind of leaves a core memory imprint on you, and not always a positive one. How do you respond to that? There is a sense of trauma there. Even having your abilities open and not being able to understand them can leave a sense of trauma. So how do you work with that, heal that, move forward safely in that, and understand the boundaries and limitations of those things? So
I wanted to jump in real quick on that too, Jen. When you were talking about that, I noticed like Alicia was in there saying, how do you shut off your abilities? And I just wanted to address that real quick. Is usually like when we hear people talking about turning off their abilities, then usually that means they have abilities but they don't know how to manage them, and it's sometimes driving them crazy. It can affect them in very bad ways sometimes. So when they're asking, hey, how do I shut this off, the answer is you don't. Okay, but you need to learn how to manage that. And this is exactly the reason what Jen was kind of getting at and talking about was this is why Jen started her wellness center, because there's so many people out there that they don't know what to do. They go to the doctors, they go to psychiatrists, they go, and they're always given drugs, they're always given like these professional organizations aren't going to be like, oh, it's paranormal, you know. So, but you know, you want to be able to have a mentor, or like in this case, like a wellness center, a place that you can learn how to manage your abilities and understand them and learn about yourself and all those good things. And then that's where the healing is. So that's why we started it, is for people like Alicia and stuff that are out there saying, how do I turn this off? Well, you know, we can help with all that.
Yeah. Well, and a simple answer for Alicia too is that, you know, it isn't about turning it off. You can't ever fully turn it off, because when you have those abilities, it's part of who you are. And to be fair, I believe everybody is born with it. It's just taught out of us over time, right? And so we've learned to filter it. It's about understanding how to put up your filters. Like psychologists and therapists and all these self-help books and stuff talk about healthy boundaries and how do you set healthy boundaries. There's the same thing with abilities. But most people struggle because there is almost always an emotional trigger that causes you to stay open, which usually comes from either not having appropriate emotional regulation. So you've got some kind of trauma that's kind of tripping that up so that you can't understand it the way that you should understand it. And it's causing that emotional reaction and that physical imbalance. So between your energy changing because of it, because of your physiology changing because of it, your brainwave activity changing because of it, it makes you open, even when you don't want to be. Yeah. So there's a whole system behind it, but that's kind of the short version of it. You can decide. You have free will, right? Everybody has free will. You make your own choices. If you want it to be this big, fine. You just go with your gut intuition. If you want it to be huge and you have every ability you can possibly learn, that's great too. But it's solely up to you and understanding where you're at and what you want.
So Jen, I would actually like to connect with you. I do have abilities. My first experience with paranormal was when I was 8 years old. I literally saw my grandfather clear as day. And that's when it all started. I've had spirits come and want me to give messages to loved ones and family members now that I'm so much older. Like, I was confused. I didn't understand because I was so young. And then throughout my life, I had different experiences, and they were kind of far few in between. But I also lived in a house that was haunted in Washington State. But as time has gone on, I'm like, why am I now seeing things so much more clear and feel things? Because now I'm tuning into it more, right? But now I'm to the point where I don't care, like, if people frown upon me, or, oh, you're just you claim you're a medium. I don't claim I'm anything. I'm someone that can see things, hear things, smell things, taste things. I have all the C's. I'm still working on my abilities. I want to grow them. And I'm not, when I say turn myself off, I mean, it's not that I'm turning off the ability. I'm kind of putting like a little wall up to say, okay, I need a break.
Yep.
From
you think about it like horse blinders for a carriage, right? And they put the blinders on so that the traffic doesn't startle the horses. It's like the same thing for mediums, because all those entities around you, they jump out of nowhere. They yell in your ear. You got to put those blinders on so that you can still live your life and have space.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and another thing is too, is that the things that I have seen, or where I'm getting messages, some of the stuff I've seen has been very disturbing. like very, very disturbing. This one, we were in an area because we have a paranormal team, my fiance and I, federal paranormal investigators, and we went to an area called Devil's Gate here in California. And what I was seeing was so, not, especially for a female, because it was a female getting hurt, if you know what I mean, by a bunch of men that, because it was a ritual that was going on. And seeing that, I got choked up. So I'm learning to control that emotional side when I see something that horrible going on. Like it really upset me and I start crying and I'm like, okay, I got to learn to control that part. So I would really like to be able to connect with you and talk to you more about this.
Sure, absolutely. Well, and you know, that's the thing. That's one of the things too that is part of what I teach. And Stacy's remote viewing is exactly a perfect example of this, right? What that methodology is very much about the data, right? And how you get the data, the accuracy of the data, the information, whether it's a smell, a sound, a sight, a picture, you know, and what they're writing down in their notes and creating this informational block, right? And that's the part that so many of us misunderstand when we have abilities, is that when we get messages and when we see things, they are literally just data points. You know, it's like experiential evidence in a paranormal investigation. It's not necessarily any less valuable or more valuable than, you know, a REM pod or a spectrum analyzer or whatever, right? That's all just data, and the whole picture comes together with the correlation. And it's the same thing with understanding that what you're receiving is just data. And it's not even meant for you, but it's that connection, that personal connection that gets so many people, that the empaths, the sensitives, mediums, where it pulls on the personal heartstrings. And that's where it negatively affects so many people. So that's where I come in and go, let's look at the people and let's look at physical, mental, and spiritual, right? We have to look at all three parts because that's how we exist. And then once we get that, we can figure out how to interpret the data safely.
Right. I want to jump into real quick because Alicia just said being emotional can open you up to getting something attached to you. Yeah, and that is true, but it's more than just being emotional. Sometimes it's not having the right education or training or inexperience can open you up. If you put yourself in these situations, things like that, you can open yourself up to attachments. And we just did some shows on attachments, and I think that's probably one of the things we talk about every few episodes. It always leads back to that because that's a very common thing is attachments.
I hope you don't mind me jumping in. You talk about attachments, and I want to go over to the pasta. And you said you're not. I'm sorry. Pasta's here. I definitely I want to piggyback off on attachments. You're into spiritual warfare. You're not an Eastern Orthodox. You're not Catholic. So you're not part of the Mother Church, if you will. All right. So you're Protestant. But so you're open-minded to spiritual gifts. You don't believe the gifts have ceased, correct?
Correct. I'm not a sensationalist, right?
Yeah, me either. So, but for the Christian religion, do you see it as God protects the believer, or can a believer get attachments?
They can, I usually answer that with a question: Can a live person influence you? If a live person, if they can influence you, attachment is kind of like an influencer that is there full time, and we definitely can be influenced. They can attach to you, and especially if, in my view, what I've seen kind of work out over the years, certain sinful actions. Or in just like what Jen just talked about, was doing things that you're not really, understanding what you're dealing with in the spiritual realm. That opens the door to that to influence you, and you have to know how to get rid of that. And whether it's dealing through a sin issue or kind of renouncing it and telling it to leave and all these different things. But the short answer to that is, I believe Christians can be attached and have attachments. That doesn't mean they're owned, or doesn't mean that they are doomed to hell or anything like that. It just means that they have an influencer, a accuser, and a abuser that's coming there to them full time.
Are you familiar with Charles Summer, Lester Summerall?
Oh yeah.
Okay, now he talked about in his demonic handbook, which I have somewhere in my library, regression, suppression, impression, and he goes through all these things to where if you have depression, regression, suppression, impression, and think about all the other terms he uses, but the finality is possession. Do you believe a born again by believer can be possessed by a demon?
No. Short answer is no. Because there's two reasons for that. Possession is where the spirit has control and has the ability and has been given the ability, usually by the person, to control their life. And for the Christian, the Holy Spirit is residing in them, and that Holy Spirit seals them, and the Holy Spirit not controls them, but leads them and guides them. So there's no two masters there. I've never really seen a full, truly in person a true full in person who's possessed in that regards. Most of the time, the oppression, attachments, all of those things come on. And yeah, I've seen actually some Christians who's been bodied who are channeling. They're channeling a spirit and allow that spirit to come in. Now, some people will call that possession. I don't necessarily see that possession. I just see that's a spirit that's talking or walking through. Some people will call it walk through, but they want to walk through that, and they're using that body and that space to speak through. So I'm going to different directions there, but perfect possession requires, in my opinion, it requires a yielding of will and a yielding and asking for it to take control.
I want to also say something too, Sean, when you're
go ahead.
On that as well. Out of all the residential cases over the years that I've been a part of, that I can personally speak of, I cannot remember a time when almost everybody that had some form of attachment or haunting in their life, almost every single person that I experienced, like the client, usually had at least some type of question of faith, some kind of a spiritual thing going on. Maybe they just weren't strong. And I'm not just talking about Christian religion. I'm just saying in general, they just either didn't have much religion in their life, or they were going through this period. There was always something like that. A lot of just spiritual / mental issues associated with those possessions. I just wanted that's just an observation I've noticed over the years.
Yeah. Let me piggyback off of that and throw it back to the other gentleman. Forgive me for not remembering your particular belief system. It's like a little bit of voodoo and hoodoo. Do you have something like the Gede, the Papa Legba? Because these people want to be possessed in the rituals. The Gede, the Baron of the cemetery.
Yeah, Baron Samedi.
The Baron.
Yeah, we don't have those same names in Palo Mayombe. They're the Congolese name. Even in Spanish, like Seti Reyes, Zarabanda, that would be the equivalent to that. The Papa Legba or Baron Samedi. But the possession side, I would disagree with Sean a little bit here, because one of the ways that you can actually become possessed over a period of time, Hollywood makes you think that you walk into a cemetery and all of a sudden, wham, you're possessed. No, it doesn't work that way. It's a long, nurturing kind of calibration with the spirit with that particular person. And it can take months and years even in order to get to that point. But one of the ending stages right before the possession that would take place is called obsession, where the person actually becomes manic about something in what you would call one of the 7 deadly. The fetish life, whether it could be anything from cars, motorcycles, weird kink, it doesn't really matter. It becomes that particular aspect of their life becomes an identity, and it's an obsession that is, in a sense, giving that permission to take it to the next level, because you can't be satiated. Whatever it is that you're doing is an obsession. You can't satiate it in the normal sense, and you start giving permission over to that will. Just whether you say it out loud or whatever, it is a willful act. And again, it doesn't happen quickly. It happens over a long period of time.
Yeah, I brought that up because I found an interesting contrast where in Pentecostalism, or anybody that shares the same belief as Pentecostals, they don't want to be possessed. With what you've talked about,
yeah, well, they do have rituals known as badas, or drums, where you'll occasionally see them. Like if you watched the movie from a long time ago, Serpent and the Rainbow, there was a scene where they were in a bar and there was possessions that were happening in the bar. That was really filmed. Those were actual possessions that were taking place. It was something that they set up a controlled environment just to catch that for B-roll while they were doing their dialogues and all this other kind of stuff. But they were real possessions that were taking place, and they were shoving needles in their face and not bleeding. They were eating glass. All of these sorts of, I don't really call them miracles, but superhuman feats that were taking place, because the deity that was coming down was proving itself that it was actually in possession.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up, because we have a contrast here where a lot of people of the faith don't want to be possessed. But the contrast is what you pointed out in my research too, and this one case that I really love. I don't know if you ever heard of it, and I can't tell you who it was, but there was a skeptic atheist who, his friend said, "Can you come and film? Because I'm going to go down to this celebration." And so it's the G'day, and they're doing their thing. Well, anywho, he didn't believe in this stuff. He just there to film, and he got taken control to where now he's got a sensitive stomach. You don't give him peppers, okay? Well, he ended up drinking vodka with peppers in it, and just like it's no big deal, like invincible. So the next day, his buddy goes, "How's your stomach feel?" He goes, "What do you mean?" He's like, "You drink a lot of vodka and peppers and all this other stuff." Like, "No, I don't. I don't do all that stuff." Showed him the film. His jaw dropped, and
At Badas, at Badas, it's like a lightning strike. You go to one of these rituals, and it's not the long drawn out kind of thing. It is the Hollywood wham. It just sort of happens, and you have no memory of it whatsoever. It's like blinking. You're one place and then you're someplace else. You have no idea what took place. And while it was happening, you're doing all kinds of, I was explaining on the show a few times that the last one that I was at, one of the deities that came down was the deity Okun. And nobody believed that he was actually, there. It looked like it was being faked. And, the deity got offended. So he actually took a straight razor and cut his tongue in half, and you could see like the meat in between, and rolled his tongue in, and it was perfectly healed. And after that, everybody's like, "Okay, we believe."
Which one was it? Was it Ogun?
Ogun.
Is he the metal worker? Yes. Okay.
Yeah, the god of war.
Yeah. I live in Ohio, where there's a lot of Haitians, and I have spoke at great lengths with my Haitian friends, and he's mentioned, and yes, they verify a lot of things you said. I mean, this is just to us. Some of us are like, no way, but when you start talking, yeah, it's very, very interesting.
Yeah, they'll do things that you don't really expect, and do superhuman feats. Literally, like you would, these revivals that you see somebody getting out of a wheelchair, to, because they're healed. Well, I've seen where they've taken someone who was in a wheelchair, and that person literally started to break dance on their back and doing all kinds of weird spinning and different things like that. Hopped back up, got back in the chair, and the person had no idea that took place because they hadn't been able to move their legs.
I've seen that
for years.
times on the Benny Hinn show.
And yeah, it's not like that at all, because Benny Hinn is more carnival. This was not carnival at all, because this person literally their legs were atrophied. It looked like what's his name, the guy who was in the wheelchair, like this all the time.
Now,
yeah.
Now, y'all guys correct me if I'm wrong, but you're talking about possession and stuff, and you were first talking about attachments and everything, and I believe an attachment's not a possession. Attachment's what you get before a possession. So an attachment can mold you. Okay, it's like it gets something. It can see interest. It'll attach itself to you, and you can bring it home. It's like bringing your work home with you, Mm-hmm. And it molds you until the point to where it can possess you. And everything.
It's not always malevolent either. It can be malevolent. They're not always mean.
You could just bring shit home from Walmart, okay? Yeah. I mean,
it's true,
right? But but it's a different level, and you may have something that, yes, like so. Attachments are like the beginning or potential beginning of possession.
Mm-hmm.
But I did want to hit real quick too, because I've been trying to watch the chat myself, as well, and kind of hit up some of your guys' questions so they don't get buried. But the Catholics are the most possessed, or why are the Catholics the most possessed religion? I'm not sure if they're actually the most possessed religion, but since Catholics are one of the ones that deal with possession they're the ones that sort of are synonymous with it. But as far as like possession, and I can tell you when we get residential cases that has potential possession involved, again, this is just, I know, like with Jen and I, with our team, like our Soul Fire team, we have a very extensive intake, a very in-depth process, and we have actually a team of professionals, so we have to go through things in like layers. You don't just go and splash some holy water on somebody and like, or hold up there's no quick or easy way to just determine if somebody has a possession. If you're an actual experienced team or a good team, you're gonna dig in, you're gonna learn. There's a lot of things you've got to learn and go through, because there's also mental health involved. There's a lot of aspects to dig through before you can really try to make that determination. And then from there, you start to set up what are the next steps, what's the game plan, what can we do. So I just wanted to cover some of that a little bit. And if y'all want to talk a little deeper on that, you can.
Yeah. Sorry, Jen, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I'm not ashamed at all to admit, I'm kind of excited to admit that just recently we had a residential case, and both Sean and Stacy were called in on the case to consult with us and give us their different opinions, because there were so many things going on with this case. Like, residential cases tend to be layered. So many layers, not just one thing. And so it does take a lot of knowledge in a lot of areas, and an hour going to their house with a couple of recorders is not going to do it, and sage and splashing holy water or even a line of salt is not going to fix it.
What? No crystals? No holding crystals and throwing some salt?
You can hold crystals all you want to. That's fine. It's not going to fix it.
Now, I've had some. No, I joke a little bit because I've met some diehard New Agers that says, Derek, here, take this crystal.
Yeah.
It's going to save you. I'm like, what? No, take it. And I'm like, I thought it was a joke. And she was serious.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And I held it, and I was like, this is kind of cool. I'm like more fascinated how cool it looks. And so I agree with you. I agree with everyone. Ontologically, this isn't a cakewalk. You got to deal with it existentially, and you're going to have a good epistemology. If you don't have a good epistemology, you're showing up with squirt gun. Period.
Yeah.
No, I get it. You guys going to have differences of opinion.
I can piss really well.
Epistemology.
Oh,
What's that?
I said I could piss really well. What? I don't have any problem.
But I understand you guys are going to have differences on your epistemology, but you're going to have a lot of common motifs, and that's the part I think a lot of people that will get to know your the diversity amongst you. They might have a hard time going, how do you reconcile the differences in the epistemology? Because look, you got the preacher here, you got the pastor, right? He comes from. I don't see you as a Bible thumping King James only. Yeah. Okay. So you're more open minded, and I appreciate that. But then at the same time, you don't want to get too open minded, right? Because you got boundary lines. We all got boundary lines, and so I like the fact that you guys are at least cordial with one another. You have your differences, because if you get too exclusive, it can get really
I mean,
but I just think it's
like, believe it or not, though, we really, all four of us, there's a lot of times we're on the same page. It really does all tie together. And again, and you just find that through experience and time. And I don't know if we covered this, Alicia, if you were asking this as we were talking, but distinguishing between possession and mental illness, again, it's a process. Like it really isn't something that you can just determine. A lot of times, again, it's just going through what are the behaviors, what's the actions, what's going. I mean, there's a huge checklist of things that you've got to take in, like many factors that you take in. And once you start looking at all those factors, again, even Jen or I, like I said, we're not going to always sit there and say, well, we know the answer because we're experienced. Like, yeah, that's true. We have a lot of experience, but we're going to reach out to Sean, Stacy. We've got other people we may not name, but we have other team members that are maybe more mental health professionals. We have other people that are out there that are willing to also consult with us, that are also experts in their field. So we can just take different opinions and put it all together, look at all the things. But that's how we handle residentials in that potential possession or mental health, or is it just like a spirit driving somebody crazy? I mean, so there's all those possibilities.
I hope that you guys and many people in the paranormal community forces the Catholic hand. That is to say, open up some archives, open up some of your priests, because they don't like to talk. Some do, but they keep that stuff private. Open up, because you guys are doing what they're doing, but you're open about it.
Yeah, well, and to be fair, this is the paranormal we're talking about, right? Until we get to the higher level and we go home, wherever that is, we're not going to know the answers, right? We're not going to know all the facts. We're not going to understand how this all works. And so even though we're like educated and we work really hard to make sure we're covering all the bases, all of us can be wrong, right? We may be off just slightly. And, that's why it's so important, because I'll never know as much as Sean about the Bible and all of the history there and all of his work in that aspect of the paranormal. And like Stacy, oh my gosh, there's so much I can learn from Stacy that I've never even heard of before, and Josh has so much hands-on experience with residentials as well and understanding different cases. So it's like we all bring something to the table, but it has like, it takes the full circle. Otherwise you miss things. And that's when we fail the clients, we fail the situation, and that's not what we're here for. We're here to help.
Yeah. And by the way, remember when I said it would take us probably an hour to do introductions? I still haven't introduced myself. So like I told you, we talk a lot. So
welcome to the council.
By the way, for those of you that don't know me, I'm the celebrity. I'm the superstar. I'm just kidding. I am the resident retard of the panel, though. But no, Sean is he's he's fabulous. Stacy's amazing. Jen is superior. And I do, but I kid around. I do bring some stuff. So my history was like I started out doing residentials and screwing around in cemeteries and shit back in the early 2000s. But I have a history all back to when I was a kid, with some things and teenager stuff. And then I started a team in the early 2000s, and then the TV show came out called Ghost Hunters. Ghost Hunters came out, and luckily, because I was operating in the Panhandle of Florida at the time, they started reaching out to teams to start doing preliminary cases, like people that had established reputations. So we were actually chosen for that area to do residential cases for the show Ghost Hunters. So that was kind of where I had gotten my start with all that, and then I started doing media like about 8 years ago, and then eventually ended up on Paraflix, which is a original series or streaming platform. I had some original series, short films, things like that, and then I sort of said, you know what, I'm going to trade in all the fame and glory, and start going back to my roots of residentials. When I met Jen, I said, you know what, let's do this. Let's go back to some residentials, and now we have the council. That's our fame right now to go on the show. But no, like I've been around. I know I joke around and say I'm a resident retard, but yeah, I mean, I do come in with a ton of experience, and I try to hold my own amongst these scholars.
But you're the comedian of the bunch.
Sometimes. I mean, there's a reason why I host the show. But I try to keep everything as humble and as lively as I can, and keep us on our toes.
He has a long list of dad jokes.
Well, I was on
very long.
I do not. I don't do dad jokes.
Fantastic.
I was on Monsters and Mysteries season 2 and 3 as an expert for. They did an episode for the Cajun werewolf and remote viewing, and I sat in probably for 3-4 hours worth of interview, and when it came through, they just decided to splice up all the things that I said and sprinkle it throughout the season. So if you watch season 2 and 3, you'll see me show up, and they'll give their story of whatever's going on. They'll do the reenactments and things like that, and I'll pop in and say, and that's the truth. And then they move on to do something else. They just snipped me in throughout the whole season. It had nothing to do with what we were talking about. Yeah, pretty much. That's what it was. I was like, come on. So
speaking of hosting the show, I think my co-host up here had some questions, didn't you, Trisha?
Oh no, we were just talking about possessions and stuff, and this guy that I spoke to on TikTok a couple months ago, he just popped up in my head, and I was thinking about him. This guy, I met his grandmother on TikTok. She was a follower of ours. She would be in all of our TikTok lives. Very sweet older lady. She was almost 90, I believe, and she disappeared for a couple months. Well, the guy pops in. He goes, "Hey, Trish," and I'm like, "How do you know my name?" He said, "My grandmother used to come in your live and send you roses, and she knows your buddy Santiago, and she really thought the world of you." And I'm like, "Well, who's your grandmother?" And he told me her name. I'm like, "Oh, where's she at?" And she said she passed away, and I feel like crap. So he disappears for a little bit. Next time he comes in, he said, "My grandmother told me that if I ever needed help, that I could come to you and you could help me." I'm like, "Of course, whatever you need." So he starts telling me that his grandmother was experiencing things within her home, and his mother, both his mom and grandmother are gone. And it followed them when her grandmother was a child until she passed away, and then something attached to his mother as a child and stayed until she passed away. So he decided that he was going to get a Ouija board, and he was going to communicate with his mom and his grandmother. And he was talking about God. He prayed on the live. I prayed with him. And then next thing you know, he was like, God, don't answer my questions. It's only the dark that answers my questions. And I'm like, that's not you saying that, because I've had previous conversations with you. You've never talked like this before. What's going on? Did you get rid of your Ouija board? And he's like, yes. I'm like, okay, good. And then a few minutes later, he says, but I have another one on the way. And I'm like, don't mess with that. Don't mess with that. That's not your grandmother or your mom you're talking to. So he's on the phone, and I hear his sister come running into his apartment screaming at him about not coming around her kid again, and he needs to stop coming into their house. And I'm literally seeing him sitting on his couch, but she said that he was just in her house messing with her kids. And so that I remove him from the box. I'm like, what in the world is going on? He gets back on. He starts talking about God again. And I'm like, something's not right. He has this cross that hangs up above his couch. And I kid you not, I watched it on TikTok Live. He's sitting there and he's just talking about how God don't answer his questions. Only the darkness follows through for him. And this cross turns upside down as he's talking about this. So, next time he comes into the live, he's fine. We're talking about God. We're talking about Adam and Eve. We have a conversation about Adam and Eve. And next thing you know, he just goes off on me for no reason. And he's like, this is what I mean. There's no God. Darkness is the only one to answer for me. And he's like, I need help, but only the darkness is going to help me. So I removed him, and I messaged him. I said, I'm trying to help you. I'm trying to find you help, because this is out of my pay grade. Way out of my pay grade. And so I'm reaching out to people. I reached out to Cindy. I reached out to a couple other people. Like, this guy really needs help. Something's not right with him. I watched this cross turn upside down. I watched him fix it, and it does it again. And then I got a message, and I had to call Corpus Christi PD about this, because this guy said that he felt like he was going to unalive himself. And I still have the messages from it. And then shortly after, he goes, I'm going to unalive somebody today. I need help, Trish. It's telling me to go kill. It's telling me to go kill. And I immediately called the Corpus Christi police department and told him the guy's name. Cindy helped me find him on Facebook. That's how we knew he was from Corpus Christi. And I hope he's okay. I haven't heard from him in forever. I have tried to reach out. No responses. But is that a type of case of a possession? Because watching all that, and I talked to his sister a little bit, and they said he's always been a good kid, good person, never got in trouble. He grew up in a Christian home, and then now he's like this. So I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I want to jump into, I know Jen's going to say something probably on this too. Who knows? Maybe even Sean. I don't know. But I want to jump in real quick. First of all, in the comments, you guys were talking about ghost hunters. Is ghost hunters fake? I started a conversation over the side for a little bit there. So I just wanted to throw my 2 cents in. Guys, I probably would never talk against my home show of ghost hunters, right? However, I will say that due to my experiences back in the day, I really got away from a lot of the syndicated TV shows and things like that, because it just, there was so many where the operating mission statement was like, hey, if something doesn't happen, we'll make it happen. And so
it's the Sons of Appalachia for ghost hunting, right?
It's you just want to make sure that you take everything that you watch on TV with a grain of salt. Any show, okay? Even your most favorite show out there on cable TV, just take it with a grain of salt. That's all I'm saying. But I also wanted to say too, real quick on the intro of your guys' show. One of the things I really like is where it was saying in the intro of the show is um, basically either you're doing shit or you're talking shit, right? You're kind of one of the two. Like if you're talking shit, then you ain't doing shit. All right. And unfortunately, in the paranormal, we get a lot of teams that they just want to imitate the TV shows. They just want to go and they try to recreate it. They want to experience it. And yeah, it's easy for a lot of these folks because a paranormal show is it's not like you're trying to imitate being a professional basketball player. All right. So it's easy for people to try to go out there and imitate it. But unfortunately, they're also involved in real situations and sometimes making it worse, or they try to fake it. But either way, like that's the difference between some people. Like there's some teams that you're actually learning, you're actually doing shit. All right, you're just not out there to like be famous or to have the status symbol or to try to be cool. You're actually out there helping people, learning and things like that. So I just want to say I did like that whole mantra of the talking shit, doing shit thing. That was great. So
Well, we've got a half an hour left of the show. I know you said at the beginning before we started, it's like, how long is the show? Well, it can go like 2 hours, and stuff, and we're an hour and a half deep into it already. And we barely got through the introductions.
We haven't answered Trisha's question yet, and we haven't even talked about cryptids yet.
No, yeah, and I want to get cryptids because you, Josh, you said about people, that are talking shit ain't doing shit. And one of our friends, she says, with Monsters Unleashed, we not only bring you the show, we bring our receipts with us.
Right.
Okay. So we want to show y'all some of our receipts. We wasn't able to show them on your show. And, but we want to show you some of the stuff that we found. But back to Trisha's question, what she was talking about, the demonic TikTok person there.
Oh, yeah, and real on that, when she was talking about that one, when you have a case like that, again, you can't always go by what they say because you can have people with mental health issues that are gonna sound possessed. They're like, "There's no God and darkness, this and I love Satan, whatever." So
don't get me wrong, Derek, but this was TikTok, okay? I've met some fucking weird people on TikTok. We've had some fucking weird people right here on.
And that's why I reached out to his sister, was to kind of get a little background about him. And she just said he's never been like this before. He's always been a good kid. He's never really been in trouble. And so I don't know. Like I said, that was out of my pay.
What I was saying before about obsession being the leaderboard into all of that, that's what you're looking at right here.
Yeah.
There was an obsession that he had going into it, and it led to something else. He gave permission through that obsession.
Yeah.
Whatever it was, talking to a loved one, wanting to reach out to that loved one, rather than take any kind of warning whatsoever, just went with it because he was obsessed. And that's an attachment encouraging you, do it. And the more you do it, the deeper you go, and it's unsatiable. So you end up getting to a point where you are possessed at that point. So.
Yeah, but then on the flip side of that is the mental health aspects, right? And due to a case that we were working, one of the many, not too long ago, we had to kind of deep dive into the different types of psychosis and how they're induced, right? Whether it's a long history of alcoholism, drug use, past drug use, they've been sober for 10 years, it doesn't matter. Whether it is trauma-based psychosis, medical, like their medications aren't working properly, or they're the wrong doses, or they're taking too many, or they have a vitamin toxicity. There's so many different reasons that these things could happen that have absolutely nothing to do with the paranormal. But the paranormal is we all of us are here because we've experienced the paranormal, right? And we have reason to believe it is very, very real and definitely affects people in mysterious ways sometimes. So, you know, the biggest question, it's kind of like the whole conversation of correlation versus causation. When it comes to these situations, it's extremely difficult to figure out. Did it start with a mental health thing, like a trauma or a medical thing? Or did it start because they had paranormal that then started wearing down their mental health? Right? Yeah. And no matter how you look at it, it's going to have, you know, even in a full-blown exorcism, you run the risk of mental health damage. You run the risk of physical damage. And, you know, for me, like my soapbox for 2 seconds here, I get so annoyed after all these years of doing really in-depth paranormal investigations, residential investigations, and helping people about the number of teams that have been, oh, I've been ghost hunting for 2 years, or I've been ghost hunting for 5 years, or I've had a team now for 7 years, and I know what I'm talking about, but they don't have anywhere near an understanding of what's involved in these cases. And then they're like, oh, well, don't listen to them. They just have a TV show. They're just a celebrity. Or don't listen to them. They're just in it for the money. Or, you know, oh, we're closer. Let me help you. Or, you know, I'll charge you less gas money. You know, things like that. Like, I can't tell you the things that I've heard. A couple examples. There was a 4-year-old and a 6-year-old girl scrying in a mirror, having night terrors from the things they were seeing. I have the receipts from another team telling the mother to have the children continue scrying in the mirror.
Wow.
This is a well-known team, and this happened 6 weeks ago.
Yeah.
What is wrong with the mother? Are you freaking kidding me?
No, the mom didn't do it.
No, the mom, yeah.
The mom did not do it. The mom.
But you said the mom was telling the girls to continue?
No,
the paranormal team.
Yeah, the paranormal team.
Oh, the paranormal. Okay, I missed that part. Sorry.
Yeah, the paranormal team that went to their home told the mom to continue to have them scrying in the mirror.
Oh, no.
I hope the paranormal team is watching this and everything, because I got one thing to say. You're fucking crazy. Okay?
Stop hurting people. Stop hurting people. We're here to help. Stop it. That's all.
This is the kind, and this goes back to what I was talking about before, when people try to imitate and they don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And they get out there and they try to help people, but really they're there just to film themselves and put it on TikTok or whatever, put it on their socials to give them that little bit of fame. And they never really helped. They didn't do any aftercare, and they made it worse and possibly even further long-term damage.
I've never done a residential case that did not require aftercare. Every single paranormal case requires aftercare of some type. And there are so many teams, if you say, well, what do you do for aftercare? They go, oh, we don't.
Right. Well, that's wild. It's the same thing for cryptids. Aftercare is very, very important. And when I first started, I didn't think about aftercare. But when I started having some really pretty scary encounters, it was really important that I did take the time and take care of myself after that, because they're traumatizing. And if you don't do something to kind of help cope with that or help get through it, it's going to eat at you and eat at you and eat at you and push you to where you don't want to be.
Well, in cryptids and elementals,
you know, you start seeing shit like this come up over the side of your bed at night. You know,
that's not funny because that's actually happened.
Tell your dad to go home.
Go home. Shoot, Dad.
But I wasn't there.
Alicia asked, "What is aftercare?" Well, let's and I'll let maybe Jen talk about this because she's really good with this too.
I've been talking too much tonight. Somebody else take it.
But I've been talking too. But aftercare really is, again, it's something that's, again, a lot of people that have been watching paranormal for years now don't know what the term aftercare means. That's sad, because that is what you should be doing. That all these people should be receiving aftercare, which means that so when you have a team, they don't just come in like it's not like the TV. They shouldn't just come into your house, investigate for a night, and they're there till midnight, 1 a.m, whatever it is, and then leave and say, "Well, we think you have a poltergeist, and see you later," or just do this and just do that. They just give you a few little pieces of advice and maybe burn the wrong sage half the time. Maybe do some kind of cleansing, or who knows, some bullshit. But aftercare really is about mental health, the home, and the environment, family. Like there's so many aspects to that household and the individual, the client, that again you want, and then there's follow-ups later on as well, because things aren't just a one and done in the paranormal. You don't just be like, "Hey, this house is cleared," and then it's good for a lifetime. No, that's so there's follow-up. So that's what aftercare is really all about, is just that continued care for the client and questions and support.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
So-
the cryptid stuff is a perfect lead into that, right? Because what Trisha was talking about, the aftercare with cryptids, it's very important because a lot of people don't know that aftercare for cryptids is similar but different, because cryptids and elementals, both, even if you want to if you look at the alien encounter studies, right?
They don't exist.
Shh, over there. I need those hands over there and chat and just like sticky hands. But yeah, no. So
Ghosts are real, cryptids aren't.
So I'm glad you said that. Okay?
mute him. Just mute him.
Oh boy.
Unbelievable. What a tough guy, okay? What a great guy. What a great guy he is.
Hey, I gotta stir the pot. Let's go.
Now you're going to say pro wrestling's face.
What is stirred?
Pro wrestling's real. What are you talking about?
Oh my god.
About stirring the pot, okay, what is your guys' outlook on like shadow people and stuff like that? Since you're into the paranormal, we cross over into the cryptids too, because we consider shadow people as being cryptids. There's so many different types of them, and then we see them in the woods.
Good old Jonesy. My favorite.
Good old Jonesy.
Yeah.
And this is known as a tall shadow person. And I know that photo is kind of grainy. You would have to have it to blow it up on your screen, but this thing has facial features. It has an ear. I mean, you can make the whole thing out if you're able to blow it up and look
I
at
see
it.
toward the top of the circle looks like a head. With
Yeah.
It is.
high nose.
Your eyes.
Right.
Well, I've seen it up close.
Right.
Well,
Yeah,
I mean, when you were showing me on the video that one night we were chatting, Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you were zooming in.
And then 2 trees over from this, we have a dog man in a tree.
Okay.
And this is all on the same photo. And it's actually in this photo right here. Circled is the dog man in the tree. But as we were looking 2 trees over there, I can't blow it up on this screen.
Yeah, I
You
can
can
see
look
Jonesy
it up.
from here.
You look at it real good, and you have Jonesy there in that photo. This is the original photo. And this is the day that we got this photo here. Now, I know this is blurry, and this isn't a blur squatch. This was taken in from about 160 yards. And it was taken with an iPhone 6, so we had to blow it up, screenshot it, blow it up to see what it was. But this is what we got. And I seen it 45 minutes before we got this photo, and my wife took this photo by accident. So, I mean, but what is your thing on shadow people in the daylight? I mean, you look at that. What else? That's the darkest thing there, but it's translucent.
I think there's different forms of shadow people, but the ones I'm familiar with paranormal investigations with most homes, there's different types. One of the types that I tend to deal with a lot is they're kind of like a pacer. they kind of like to peek around corners. One, for example, I remember a case where I was in an antique mall and there's like this aisleway and there's like these shelves and you could see it moving kind of back and forth, and it would like peek around the thing, and they would like, and someone would come up near you and go away and stuff. So very much that type of personality that's the ones I tend to experience the most. But if y'all want to jump in on some of the ones you guys have experienced.
I used to have one in a townhome that I lived in, and I think he got attached to a mirror because I lived in a haunted house in Linwood, Washington. We found out that people were burned and passed in the home. And I had a mirror in my room, and my youngest son was laying in bed watching TV. And all of a sudden he did this horrible screaming cry, something I've never heard before. And I jump off the couch to go run in to see what happened because he was laying on the bed. I didn't know if he fell off or what was going on. And he said, "Woman with no face." And he kept pointing at the mirror, "Woman with no face." And I have never seen my son this terrified before. And so I held him and I told him it was okay. I did not brush it off. I did not tell him there's nothing there. I just said, "You're all right. Mommy's here." Well, I took that mirror and moved into a townhome. And at night, I'd be laying in bed and I would see looked like a solid black shadow figure. I could see the shoulders, the head, the arms, everything. And he would just stand there it was weird. It was always in the same area, but it was over by the sliding glass door in my closet. And I always felt like I was being watched all the time in that place. And then one night, while I was on my side facing the bedroom door, when someone crawls into bed or crawls over you to get on the other side and you have your blankets on and it kind of smushes down and goes tight on you? Well, I lived alone. I didn't have anybody in that house with me. And it literally pushed down on one side of me and crawled over me and pushed the other side of the covers down on me, to the point where I'm laying there going, "What the hell? What the hell? What the hell?" Like, I'm like freaking out. And I'm like, "Stay calm, stay calm, stay calm." I put my arm out of the covers and reached on the other side because I thought, gosh dang it, is someone really in bed with me? Nothing was there. And
that's a different entity. That's a different entity than the one your son saw.
Well, yeah, my son saw a woman with no face, but whatever came with me from that house was definitely a male. It was very tall and very broad shouldered. You could see the figure of a body.
Right.
But it was shadowy and black. But I've never in my life had that happen until that time. So, but yeah. And my son was 3.5 when that happened. And he just kept saying, "Woman with no face." Because my son spoke very well. He was taught how to read at a very young age. But yeah, it was quite interesting.
Well, I think, Mike, to kind of answer your question, I know Stacy and I've talked quite a bit about this, but I've encountered a number of what I call protectors. I believe they're elemental in origin. I see them quite frequently. And they often have a very large humanoid shadow. They are a shadow for the most part. When they're particularly angry, then they're not so shadowy and more solid. But they are very much like a black dark shadow that's very, very tall. And so I can definitely see correlation in that. And also with having that other picture, that other dogman picture so close by, that would very much make sense why they're in the same space. Right.
Well, the weird thing of it is that we were all in there. We were walking all over that area. Look, because I had seen something go from one tree to another.
Yeah.
And we all charged in there looking around, and this damn thing was in a tree and we never even seen it. And if you look at this, you look at the ears, okay? It has pointed ears. Just like this has pointed ears sticking straight out. This has pointed ears. And people could argue that that's a bear up in this tree. Bears don't have pointed ears. Bears' ears are more rounded. So, I mean, unless it's a spot bear, then.
Well, I mean, to be fair, little weird fun fact about me. I worked in the northern part of the United States and actually participated in bear studies. And so being up close and personal with them in their natural habitat was something that I did quite often. And in certain positions and certain things like that, yeah, they could appear that way. I understand exactly where you're coming from, but I can also see why there's confusion about it. If that makes sense. And if it's a bear, you're going to see nail marks up the tree. You're going to see scat in the area. You're going to see footprints in the area if you know how to track it all. It's not going to jump from tree to tree, right?
Right. We went back in the next day and we did like a 2-hour investigation in there trying to debunk what we'd found. We wasn't able to debunk it, but we did find that very same tree and went to it, and that tree was tore all to hell going up the back side of it. Wasn't it, Tricia? We have the photos of it too. And yeah, it was definitely
that was the same day we had the rock thrown at us as well.
Yes. We have a video on our channel about that too. We were standing there and something threw a rock at us. And Tricia was videoing and she pulled over and there was definitely something over in the weeds across the creek from us. I don't have that photo on me, but it's in the video. We have a video on there. You'd have to go back in and watch it.
Oh, this cat.
Tricia, do you have that photo of that?
That was one of the photos that got wiped off my hard
drive. Oh, I have it, but I don't know where it's at. Yeah. But we've seen some wild shit in there. I mean, look at this. This was taken from Jen Hicks's infrared night vision goggles that she had. Now, could it be pareidolia? Possibly.
You know what I see?
What do you see?
I mean, obviously, it's eye of the beholder here. It's based on, like, to me, the one on the farthest right looks like someone sitting down with like an old gun, like it's like people in the war or something, back in like the 17 or 1800s, and he's got a gun over his shoulder.
You said that.
And they're sitting down, kind of like having a meal or something, or campfire or something.
The land between the lakes has these walking spirits, I guess you could call them. They're called the Wandering Soldiers from the Civil War. Oh, so that was interesting that you said that. But yeah, there's stories of, they call them the Wandering Soldiers, and they're Civil War soldiers.
I think there's an element. I think there's an element that also gets lost in translation between the investigators and the audience. So me, I can look at that picture and I can be like, well, pareidolia, whatever, who knows. But when we are there as investigators, there's a feeling. There's things that we're like, we know we can look at something with our own eyes, and sometimes it does not come across on camera, does not come across in video or picture format, right? But we're there and we know it. We can smell it. We can see it. And we know it's not a damn bear. We know it's, certain things sometimes. Like, there's just things that we know when we're there, and it's hard to convey that sometimes to people. And when we show them these things, they're just like, you're just pareidolia, you're matrixing, whatever, right? But they don't understand. It's when you're there in person and you're seeing it for yourself. Yeah, there's something to be said about that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Dad.
Well, like I said, with this photo here, okay, there's a story behind this, and I'm gonna try to give it to you the short thing. 2 weeks in a row, I had a dream. It was the same dream every night, over and over, every night. I got to where I didn't even want to go to sleep because I knew I was going to have this dream. And we were planning a trip into the Land Between the Lakes. I was going to come over and meet with Trisha. We were going to go out and do some investigation. And I told Trisha, I said, I have to go. I have to go in by myself. I said, and she's like, well, Dad, I know some places that you could go in and you'd still be close to us and stuff. And I told Trisha, eventually I told Trisha, I said, no, I said, when I get there, I'll show you exactly where I have to go. So when we were coming into Colson Holler, there in the LBL, we come down the hill, and as soon as we bottomed out, I hollered at Trisha on the radio. I said, that's where I have to go. Well, some things happened, and we got delayed to the point to where I couldn't go in there and be prepared as I wanted to be. I wanted to get in, while it was still daylight. So it became unsafe. So once we got back there, it was about 10:30 at night, and we were all set up, and just like we did some sound frequency generations and stuff like that, and shit just started going sideways. There was stuff popping off from everywhere, all around us. Well, in this dream that I'd had, I'd went in by these 2 cedar trees. And when we were coming down in there were those 2 cedar trees that I seen in my dream. And in beside those trees, it's like the brush. There was like a big circle that was cut out into the wood line there, going in beside these 2 trees. And that's where I was supposed to go. And that night, when everything started happening, she got this visual, this photo here, taken from her night vision, and that's where I was supposed to go. Now, Jen didn't know this. She didn't know about all that. Trisha and I did. And she got this photo of this thing standing there where I was supposed to go. And it's just crazy. I mean, was it a premonition? Because that's one of my things, is like, I've been known to have premonitions of things, and a lot of people call it deja vu, and you'll dream about something that actually becomes real, and this was one of them. And the weird thing it is, after that night, I didn't have that dream anymore. So it's a little, I believe I was being warned not to go there. And things happened in sequence that I didn't get to go there, which was probably a good thing. But yeah, we've had a lot of weird stuff there. I know we don't have much time. Let me show you this. Now this video, this photo is lightened up from this photo. This is the original taken from the video. You can make out its ears up there. This white thing coming across what you would think would be its face, that is a tree branch from a tree to the left of it there that's right in front of its face.
Yeah.
Now in this video, you can see this thing move. You can see its ear twitch in the video, like a dog's ear would twitch. That's Trisha's Dogman encounter she had there that night. She seen it with her own eyes. She took the video of this thing standing there looking at him. It's creepy as hell.
By accident, caught it on video. Because when I panned around, my phone was off to my right side, and I was turning around to go back to where my husband and Andy was at, because his wife had gotten their truck. And when I started panning around, it was there, and it was just swaying, and I saw its eyes. I was locked into its eyes. And then leaving, I started reviewing because I was trying to ask my husband if he saw it, because something spoke to me that night and told me to go get out of there, go get out of there, go get out of there. So I did. I took that, and I'm like, okay, leaving. So my husband came up to allow me to turn around to get into my Jeep. And when I turned around and got in, he saw it. And then leaving out of there, he had a panic attack and his head was hurting. And I went through the video and saw that I caught it. And I showed him, and he confirmed that that's what he saw too. And that was this year. That was back in January.
Yeah.
So that's what really caused me to start doing aftercare after that.
And you guys, I mean, you can go on our channel and watch some of our videos that we have on there. You'll see this stuff. We share everything. We don't sit on stuff. A lot of other groups they'll get evidence and they'll just sit on it. They'll take it to their grave. We know people's like, yeah, I've got these good spots. I've had this and this and this happen, but they won't take you there and they won't show you any evidence of it. But we'll never get blamed for that because we always show our evidence. We share it with our community and put it out there. Some people call us crazy, but, but Jen brought some evidence of her own tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and play it, Jen, if you want to talk about it afterwards. And I know we don't have much time, so
I would like for us to compare the two. Hers.
Yeah, we have one too.
Yeah, compare them.
So we'll play yours first, Jen.
Okay.
Well, I was trying to get back for some reason.
I was like, we crashed the stream.
Yeah. My mouse wasn't working or something.
Look, this whole time this whole show, I've been looking at my phone, rewatching that over and over again. That is definitely something canine.
It looked like it.
And that's a really good thermal video, Jen. Like a really good one.
Yeah. Well, and I can't share the location because the property has rules on that. Mm-hmm. And they have not responded in over a year to my request to go public with it. Because like you said, we learn from sharing, right? What I can tell you is that when I took that myself, actually, I was using my cell phone with another cell phone with just one of the little FLIR things on the bottom, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that was my body cam that was recording the cell phone with the FLIR on it. Thank God for body cams, because I've caught more stuff on those that I never expected in a million years. And I was not recording on the FLIR at the time. If it hadn't been for that body cam, I would have missed it completely. But there was this one area, and you could see the tree line, right? There was a row of trees, probably, 150 foot long. The trees were about this big around. You can see them because you can see the heat light on the side of the trees. And this one area, I didn't even realize this till later when I was reviewing the evidence. That same spot, I went back to for hours throughout the investigation. I kept getting called back there. I kept feeling something. And I was trying to pinpoint where it was. It was watching us. I could feel it. I could feel its energy. It felt like it was trying to communicate, but also warning, like, hey, here's a boundary, stay there, And I think, if I'm not mistaken, there were 6 other people there when I took this, but they were behind me quite a ways. So, you know, when we're looking at FLIR, we're looking at things like reflections. We're looking at things that would retain heat. Obviously, that heat signature moved and changed, and it did not match the same coloring as like the tree or anything else that had been absorbing heat during that time. We have tons of pictures and footage of that area that shows that there was nothing reflective there for it to be reflecting off of. And of course, we immediately went and investigated. There were no people, there were no animals, there were no nothing after this, because right about the time that hit, floodlights went on, right? We were like, let's go find it. But what was interesting to me was it wasn't until I was alone standing in that area and everybody was off the other direction and having their own conversations that I heard it. I could hear it breathing and I could hear its footsteps. And I was like, that's awfully dang close to me. I estimate it was somewhere between 5 and 8 feet from me, probably about 6 feet away from me at the time. And I started walking and I pulled up the FLIR and you could see the tree that I just passed when it was upright. And I kept walking on thinking, I'm going to get a better view of it. I'm going to go around this next tree and I'm going to look. Well, that's when it started going alongside me and following me as I was walking the tree line, trying to get a better view of it. And as I picked up my pace, that's when it dropped to all fours and then took off. And I was like, oh, that's interesting. That was not what I expected based off what I was getting energetically.
Yeah.
But it was pretty cool. So I'm not going to say if it was Dogman. I'm not going to say if it was Bigfoot. I'm not going to say if it was a Shadow Man that was just being weird or something that was, transforming. I'm not going to make any claims as to what it is, but those are the things we see in the woods, right? Yep. Sometimes we feel them, we catch them out of the corner of our eye, we hear them coming. I've heard Bigfoot walk up to me before, like, you can hear them footprints, man.
So let me show you this one.
Okay.
And get your thoughts on it. Okay. So what's your thoughts on that one?
I mean, I can definitely see some of the similarities. Mm-hmm. The movement type seems similar. Just the way the body was moving, especially when it was down on all fours.
Did you notice the upper torso? How big the upper torso was? Its torso, and how long its arms were when it was reaching out like this and running.
Big. I mean, thick arms, big, broad shoulders. Me and Jennifer Hicks actually saw it before it started chasing.
Yeah.
So I was able to make out a conical head, no pointy ears, and I mean it was massive. And I estimate about 12 to 13 foot if it stood up.
Yeah. But it chases them and then it just veers to the left and it's gone.
Yep. And and that's the thing that I don't know. Like, I want to go back and study more of those specifically, because it's like, what are we dealing with? Is this an elemental? Is this a creature? Is this, like a biological creature that was maimed somehow? Is this, a paranormal entity? Is this alien? Is this Bigfoot? Is it like a variation of Bigfoot? Like, what is this? And I would love to have the opportunity to go back out and study more, because there's something there.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Vanover asked about the kind of FLIR that we all use. I mean, it can range, but just a little piece of advice: if you're not trying to break the bank, but you want something to use real well, those cell phone attachments, like, you're not using the instruments on the cell phone. The cell phone is just plugged into it to record and provide power. But honestly, like, those FLIR attachments for cell phones work amazing. They really do.
That's the one that caught mine. It's a thermal imager, the NF524. I don't even know the brand. And it was so funny because I was just complaining about this thermal. I hate this thermal. I don't like it. I want a FLIR thermal. I'm working on raising the money to get me a good FLIR thermal. If I would have had a FLIR for that, it would have been a lot better quality. But this is one I think I paid like $100 for off of Amazon, and now I can't complain about it anymore because it caught that. I mean, it was like a couple minutes prior to seeing it and me turning and getting this and capturing it, I was complaining about it. So, joke's on me, I guess.
Yep.
Yeah, so the one that I used for my video, and it was actually, I think I had played with it in my backyard. That was the first time I'd actually taken it out. It's the Top Don. Just plug in the bottom. So it's not FLIR. So it's $280, $290 on Amazon. It's really not that bad when you're looking at, like, a similar FLIR was like $500 to $700.
Mm-hmm.
And the reviews on it were actually really good. So I was like, you know what? We'll try it out, see how good it is. And I've had a lot of really good evidence, if you want to call it that, with it. So that's the one that I've used.
Well, and plus too, just to kind of also caution for people too, if you do go get a thermal, keep in mind, like Jen was talking about earlier, there's reflections, there is things like that. You could actually be standing there in a room and get a lot of false positives. You got to be careful and kind of pay attention to your surroundings. What kind of materials are you near? There's a lot of those things. So just keep that in mind.
But also, I will say that those things are really handy to have, especially the gun type like Trisha has there, because even if you're in a daytime investigation and you see something and you're thinking, is that pareidolia? I mean, I'm seeing something here. You can always hold that thing up and shoot and see if it has a hotter signature than everything else around it. Give you more peace of mind. So, I mean, they are handy to have. I've been looking at them on Amazon. There are some that are pretty cheap, a little over $100. And having some thermal is better than not having any thermal.
I agree with that.
Hey,
So,
I disagree.
Stop stirring the pot.
I'm not. Look,
look, Jen, I can fix this. Watch.
No, the only reason why I say it is because my old teammate had bought a cheap ass thermal And yes, trust me, it was better to not even have thermal. All right, it was that bad.
Oh,
So
I see.
just be careful.
Yeah. Don't buy those little ones like this that they advertise for like $75 that look like a camera that's hollow through it and stuff. Those things are absolute garbage. You know, the better resolution. The one Trisha have is like $125 on Amazon.
Yeah, I got it on. I
And
think
you just seen the video from it.
So that should be like a minimal rule. Don't go lower than 125 at least.
Right.
Hey, I want to comment on somebody's comment, JD. He said it looked like it was on all fours like a gorilla does. It was running like a gorilla. And then towards the end, it kind of looks like it stands up and walks off. So I don't know why it stopped chasing. That's just another question that I'm going to have to search for the answers.
But Jen, I did notice from the video that you shared with us, at first, to me, it seemed like it was standing upright and it went down to all fours.
Right.
Yeah. But at the end there, it also did what looked like it stood up and then was gone.
Yeah.
In the video that I had, but also the video you had. So there are some similarities there that would be very interesting to discuss more of, like the where and look at proximity and history to see if we can find any correlations between that video and this video and study the area more. So, because that was at LBL, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So this place was probably within an hour and a half of there.
Interesting.
What's the Sasquatch push to talk?
Sasquatch PTT are these little radios right here.
I fell for that.
These are basically worldwide walkie-talkies. They work off a cellular network, but the thing about them is they're 3 to 5 times more powerful than your cell phone. So you will find yourself where you do not have cell phone service with your cell, but you will have service with this. And I'm testament to it. Trisha's testament to it. Saved her life in the LBL.
Drove right through a tornado with it, and it worked about 97% of the time in the land between the lakes.
You can get this radio for like $128, and that includes your first year of service, and it's $32 a year after that. And you can go to sasquatchptt.us and find them. They're really nice. I'm not gonna lie, I really love my radio.
And it's not just one that links to just your team. Like if your team buy more than if you buy more than one, you get your own private channel, and then you have your public channel, and then you have all the other public channels. So if you're out on investigation, you want to keep it private, you have that private channel. But these, you can communicate with people all around the world. Like there's a guy from the UK, I've talked to him a few times. I talked to other paranormal and cryptid researchers in the US. I've talked to a couple people in Australia. So it's like a worldwide thing.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. And my radio's dead, or I would ask for a radio check. Derek, do you have is yours charged? Can you get us on the lounge and give us a radio check?
Enter the group.
Sure. Hold on, someone's.
Volume level 4.
Hey, this is Rupert Ducky. I'm live on YouTube. Can I get a radio check?
Rupert Ducky, PA, Bucks County, Quakertown. On the Bigfoot. You're loud and clear.
What a great guy.
Loud and clear, Tennessee. Loud and clear, southeastern Pennsylvania.
That's Johnny 5. That's it. That's it. Let's see how. That's this. It's 11 o'clock at night, so
yeah.
Then, like I said, during the day, you have up to about 20, 25 people in the lounge. You're going to hear people from the UK, Australia, Tennessee, New York. I got a guy from New Jersey. We always talk like we're in the mob. He's hilarious, and yeah, you got some characters on there. So
and the thing of it is, that's not a paid advertisement. Okay, we just believe in these. This is a whole lot better than going in with the Baofeng radio.
Yeah,
it's good to have your Baofeng for backup in case you do not have signal. on this, but it's a whole lot better. But guys, look, we went well past our 2-hour mark, and we still didn't get everything. We'd like to have you guys back.
It was great.
Oh,
Love
yeah.
talking with you guys every time.
Yeah, it's been a great show. I mean, it don't even seem like 2 hours and 15 minutes, but we'd really, really like to have y'all back sometime. We'll have to get you scheduled back in and and talk about Trisha's cousin and stuff.
Okay, I've got one coming to you.
It's okay. I'm ready. You bring it. You just bring it.
Yeah, and we got to probably try to get Cindy and Derek on our show.
Would love to.
And next time you get Trisha on your show, ask her about her husband being a reptilian. Okay?
Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna live that down.
So that's a good story. It's very entertaining, and
it's not a good story. It makes me look psychotic, to be honest. And
it is a good story.
About 4 days of no sleep, because all I ever do is research and field work. Yeah, that's about 4 days no sleep story.
And I mean, you just never know. And like I said, those dreams of things coming up over your bed and everything, and Bigfoot standing in behind the trees looking at you.
What a tough guy.
Hey, Trisha, are you going to be in town for the Crossroads gathering?
Yeah, I need the date again because my phone went. But yeah, I told my husband about it the other day that I wanted to go, but I couldn't remember the date. And also in November, if you guys aren't busy, I think it's the November 13th through the 4th or 15th. We're doing a camp out with another cryptid group, and we're going to invite some paranormal people as well. And I was going to message you after the show or tomorrow and invite you guys.
We'll be in there with SWAT. We're going to be there next month also. We're going to be in there in the LBL for a week. And we're gonna have base camp, and we're going to have like 3 satellite camps set up in some very, very I'll say dangerous areas, but some very, very high traffic areas for Sasquatch and Dogman. So we're looking forward to it.
Oh shit, Derek took off his sunglasses. I thought I was on a podcast. Man, I thought I was on a podcast this whole time with the Critical Drinker. God dang it. It's not the Critical Drinker. Shit. I thought that sounded
you
off.
guys could be brothers.
I went with the Jay Dyer look. I went with the Jay Dyer look tonight. I mean, if you know who that is. But,
he's trying to get on Top Gun 3.
Yeah, I want to be Val Kilmer, but I can't. But you know what I'm saying. And
or Georgia Highway Patrol.
Yeah, I got one line. It's one line I'm trying to, get down.
But also, guys, we're going to be at the West Virginia Bigfoot Festival, and it's October the 9th through the 11th. I need to change this photo. In Summersville, West Virginia, we're going to have a booth there. We're going to be selling merchandise and doing autographs, just hanging out with our friends and, and everybody. We're going to be hanging out with everybody. So
doing autographs. I might be down there on the 9th, Friday.
I'm going to have some of my books there too. So you'll be able to pick those up a little cheaper than you can get them on Amazon. So, but guys, if you don't mind, tell everybody that's watching how they can reach out to you guys about your show or anything. If they have a residential paranormal thing that they need taken care of. If they want to go out and look at people while they're in the shower. Just anything.
Well, I think the easiest way is to contact us at the Paranormal Council on Facebook or Soul Fire Paranormal on Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, whatever, that's fine. And if Sean or Stacy, if you want Sean or Stacy, we can more than happily put them in touch with you. And I know Sean's got a podcast as well that he does. And Stacy, of course, has all of his classes. There's a lot more than just the remote viewing. So you can check out Stacy on Udemy. Sean might have more information. You can find Josh and I at Soul Fire. So Soul Fire Paranormal anywhere.
Mine is biblical paranormal. Just YouTube and Facebook. So you can just look up biblical paranormal and look for my ugly mug.
Also, there was something special about this show. This was y'all guys' first time together on someone else's podcast as the council, Paranormal Council.
Wow.
Right.
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, I was telling Josh before, I'm like, look, we got our Soul Fire shirts. We need to get the Paranormal Council shirts for the whole council. We've been doing this like months and months and months now, and we don't even have t-shirts. Like, we should fix this. We got business cards, but we don't have any t-shirts, so.
Yeah, we need to get a shirt that says "Show me your orb."
That's cool. That would sell.
I love that.
And then on the front has two hands with orbs.
Hey, Trisha, I've got Stacy's Christmas present. We need to talk.
But anyways, guys, Cindy, tell everyone how they can get a hold of you.
All right, can I bring out a little guest?
Yeah.
Oh no.
I'm going to bring out Isabel. So Mike gifted Isabel to me, but yes, you can find me on Cindy Sapp is the best way to go on Facebook, CYNDISAPP, and all my information is on there. It's the most easiest way to find me. I have too many platforms.
And Derek, what about you? How can they find you?
I'm also on the Tic Tac. Derek. I'm on TikTok. So Derek DEREK. So it's Derek D81777, and I have an AI mug, if you will, and I post drawings. I just did a drawing for this episode. He's obscure. He's not pretty, but I did it in like 2 minutes. So whoever he is, he's from the subconscious. And I go live each day for a little bit at random times. I do everything impromptu, and whoever shows up, shows up. And if they don't, they don't. We talk about everything from paranormal to philosophy to religion, comedy, really anything. But my forte is philosophy and religion and history. I'm a nerd, so.
I've peeked in on your TikTok.
When?
In the mornings when I'm laying in bed. I'm like, I'll watch.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. All right, guys. Well, we'll be back again next Saturday at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Trisha, when will your show be live again?
Probably Tuesday. I'm looking to schedule a guest. Right now, it's been just really crazy with wrestling coming into effect. My daughter wrestles and scouting and mapping and Bigfoot Festival and stuff. So I'm hoping to be on Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time.
And that'll be Cryptid Awakenings.
Mm-hmm.
So Trisha has Cryptid Awakenings. We have Monsters Unleashed, and soon to have Monsters Across America. It's coming soon, guys. It's gonna be a Thursday show. So with that being said, we'll catch you next week. Guys, if you would hang out in the green room, if you don't mind. I mean, if you got to go, that's fine too. But Josh, I did want to speak to you in the green room after the show.
Shit, I'm in trouble.
Yep. In the principal's office. But see you later, everybody.
Good night.
They're out there watching, waiting. Oh, yeah. Cold night, black sky, headlights cut the trees. Something moving in the shadows, and it's staring back at me. Every road we travel lived in fear. Every scream inside the holler says the monsters still live here. Campfire burning, radios hiss, tracks in the mud, nobody can explain this. Eyes in the darkness, glowing through the rain. Once you see the truth, man, you never think the same. We came for answers, but answers ain't enough. The deeper that we go, the darker that it gets. They're watching from the tree line, breathing in the dark, waiting for the moment to tear your world apart. Bigfoot in the mountains, dogman on the run, monsters unleashed forever. The hunt has just begun. The hunt has just begun. Every investigation leaves another scar. Every piece of evidence pulls us way too far. Voices on the spirit box calling out our names. Something ancient in these woods ain't playing games. Moonlight shining off the old back roads. Fear hits different when you're truly alone, but we keep pushing through the silence and the dread, chasing things most people wish stayed dead. No fear, no turning back. We walk into the darkness, and darkness stares They're watching from the shadows, hiding in the trees. Every step you take brings them closer than you think. From the forest to the graveyards, from the mountains to the caves, monsters unleashed forever, still hunting to this day. They're still out there.